just in case. Board again. Y'all, it was not me. You know how I was having such trouble downloading the videos so I could get them onto Mighty Network? It was not me, because suddenly I was able to download them this week. There was something going on with Facebook. So I thought it was my technology issues. It was not, but just in case, I'm making a backup recording so that I can download it from Zoom and then put it, it's all the things. It's all the things. You guys don't care about that. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. My daughter is back to school today. Life is back to normal today. And it feels good to kind of start to get back into routine. I am definitely, like many of you, keeping an eye on my energy, how it feels to have turned over into a new year in such a crazy way with all of the chaos and sort of crisis and upheaval. I'm paying close attention to, all of the things to protect my nervous system. So I'll do just some quick announcements and then we will talk about my topic for today. Couple things. We have 3 days left for the Healthy for the Holidays series, today, tomorrow, and Friday. After Friday, I will not be going live every day anymore. Believe it or not, it's a lot of work to go live every day, to get the videos uploaded, to make sure the tech is working, all the things. So the Healthy for the Holidays series will officially end on Friday. However, I am, as I mentioned before, I am going to continue to go live in this group in particular once a week. I believe right now it'll be Mondays that I'll go live, but I'm sorting some things out in my calendar, so don't quote me on that. I will put, you will see in the events page in this group when those will start to be, but I will go live every week. I've got some great fun ideas for challenges, for Q&As, for supporting you once a week for the rest of this year. And probably we will do another Healthy for the Holidays series at the end of the year as well. So once a week until we start again at the end of the year. So plan on that. You will see those events pop up and you can, same thing, jump on Zoom or jump on Facebook. Zoom is mostly, well, it's for anybody, but if you are on Mighty Network and you, don't do Facebook, then you can also join live by jumping on Zoom. Some of you do that. And then, or you can also join just by jumping on Facebook. Speaking of Zoom, here we go. So that will happen starting next week. I will go live every week, but not every day. So you can expect that to shift just a little bit. I will also put the link in here. As I mentioned, I'm doing a free webinar tomorrow on why we don't do better even when we know better. Some of you have seen that webinar. It's always a good reminder because you pick up new things. I'll put the link in here. There are over a couple hundred people registered already. Make sure that you register because I can only have 500 people in the room and we will be pushing that number. So I'll put the link in here. Was there anything else I wanted to put? Oh, I'll also put the link in here for the discovery calls with me for anybody who's looking to do the shift this round. I have a number of calls set up. I'm super, super excited to meet you all and just talk about whether or not the shift feels right for you. I'll put the link in there. I'm doing some of those this week, some of those next week, and then those close up as we start the shift. Okay. One of you asked when the shift exactly starts. It starts next Saturday, but what that means is that your first module comes out on Saturday. Our first coaching call is Thursday, what day would that be? 20 something. Sorry, I should have known that ahead of time. Our first coaching call for the shift will be Thursday, the 20th. Okay. So yesterday I posted a vision and goal setting worksheet. And that is, and some of you had asked me, I had mentioned some behavior design training and some things that I'm doing for the people in the shift, and sort of asked the difference between the two. So here, let me explain it just a little bit more. So the vision and goal setting worksheet is my example of a theoretical working model on how to think about setting goals differently and why we should do it differently. And it's what I believe is sort of a entry level, easy to access model for how to look at goal setting differently. So I set that all up for you yesterday. That's what yesterday's video was, is explaining how to do that. The vision and goal setting PDF that I posted in here and in the Mighty Network group is super self-explanatory. If you have any questions about the PDF in particular, just let me know. I will help answer them, but it's really self-explanatory. The difference between that and the trainings that I do for the folks in the shift is that it expands on that theoretical model to include what's called behavior design and tiny habits coaching. And so it takes what I showed you yesterday and really expands on that in a more pointed and directed way. So what I gave you yesterday is incredibly useful. It's incredibly impactful. And for those of you who saying, you know, what else am I learning when I do the behavior design training and all the stuff that's in the shift? It's just an expansion on that model to give you an exact system to be able to do that planning anytime. So I would say, if I had to make it more simplified, what I gave you yesterday, vision and goal setting, is sort of level 1, and then the behavior design training and the tiny habits training is an expansion on that into really level 2 and level 3 work. Those trainings that I do bring together the broader concepts of my philosophy about belief system and identity work, behavior design work, habit formation work. It brings all of those together in a theoretical model. So that's really the difference there. Not that the vision and goal setting worksheet that I gave you is not incredibly useful. It is. It's what I give to everybody. And when you're in the programs, and I can give you a more wraparound understanding of the theory and the model and the concepts, then I can introduce things like behavior design training and tiny habits training and identity formation training, putting them all together to help you understand how to utilize that. So that's the big difference. I am doing a behavior design training, what I was just talking about, for the shift membership community and the people coming into the shift for this round next week. That's what that training is all about. So that was the explanation for the difference between those two things. Let me know if you have any more questions about that, and I'm happy to go deeper into it. That being said, one of you asked, okay, I've heard a lot of people, give goal setting and vision work a bad rap, right? This whole new year, new you, goal setting. Why do we do this at all? Why do we do goal setting? Isn't it pointless? That sort of rhetoric around, is it really worth our time to do vision and goal setting? And so here's what I want to say to that. And I think this is a really important conversation to have. You've probably heard the saying, if nothing changes, nothing changes, right? And what does that mean? Well, I talk a lot about the brain. I teach you a lot about brain science because my belief, my philosophy includes, let's work with this beautiful mechanism that we all have rather than against it. So let's understand how the brain works so that we can work with it. We can be in flow with it. We can be in tandem with it rather than constantly trying to fight it. That's why I talk a lot about cognitive science and neuroscience and behavior science and how all of that works, right? Because you have heard me talk so much about homeostasis and automaticity, the brain really likes those things. It likes homeostasis, it likes everything to stay the same, and it likes everything to be automated. It's very efficient if everything is automated, right? But we as humans have the capacity to experience emotion. We have the capacity to experience discomfort. We have the capacity to experience when we don't like something or we want something else or we want something to shift. That's okay. We have this beautiful consciousness and cognition to allow us to think outside of our current environment and take in information from environments around us and put that together and say, oh, I want that. I like that. I don't like that, right? Like that is something unique to the human species. So when we are experiencing something in our lives that feels like discomfort or that we would like to expand on, or, everybody's in here working on sort of weight and body image things when we are uncomfortable in our body and we'd like that to be different. What do? We go out and find the tools and resources to try and change, right? But the problem is we usually go out and find those tools and resources from the person who is unhappy, right? So I am unhappy with my body, I am unhappy with my weight. And from that place, I go out and find the tools and resources to lay on top of that discomfort to try and fix the discomfort, right? And especially as we round a new year, people are reflecting on how they feel about themselves, right? I like my body, I don't like my body, I want to do something different. We get this wave of motivation that says, okay, this year is going to be different. I'm going to do it differently this year. And this is the year that I commit to the Whole30 and I never go back to sugar, right? Fine, there's nothing wrong with that. Inherently, there's nothing wrong with that, except for it's not working with the brain. So if I'm going back to the original question, which was, why do we do vision and goal setting anyways? Well, taking inventory of, you've heard me talk about metacognition, taking inventory of who we're being in our environment is a very, very good practice to get good at. Very, very good mental muscle to start to flex. And all that is stepping outside of yourself and looking back and saying, how am I doing in these areas of my life, right? With my health, with my wealth, with my relationships, with my spirituality, with my movement, with my body, with my exercise, whatever, any of these places in your life. Stepping outside of yourself to take inventory, okay? And when we take inventory and we find ourselves lacking or not fulfilled in a certain area, that makes us want to feel differently. We want to change. We want to do something to change, right? And let me just pause there and say, it is incredibly powerful for us to periodically take inventory. How am I doing in my life? How do I feel in my life? Because I'll go back to my original statement, if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you don't start to take inventory of whether or not you are fulfilled or unfulfilled in the areas of your life, what has your brain done? Your brain has gotten habitual and automatic in exactly how you're feeling right now, even if that's not feeling good. When your brain likes that homeostasis and automaticity, so you can be sure that everything you're doing right now, every way you're being, everything you're feeling is homeostasis to the brain. That does not change if you just keep on bumping along down the line. It will never change. It will never change because it's comfortable and familiar to the brain, and the brain likes it that way. Even if you're feeling unhappy, even if you're feeling depressed or anxious or frustrated with yourself, your brain is happy. It's a strange concept to grasp, but even if you are feeling unhappy, your brain is comfortable in that unhappiness. Have you ever known somebody like this, where they seem just sort of comfortable in their discomfort? It's like they've identified as this person for so long, and they've just been this way for so long that that's just who they are, right? I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. That's who I am. I'm unhappy. That's the brain acting on purpose. At the most subconscious level, the brain wants you to stay exactly as you are. So if who you are is unhappy, that's what it feels comfortable being. So it's just going to stay that way. And so unless we pause and take these periodic moments of inventory and say, all right, well, how do I feel about this area of my life? Or how am I being? Or who am I being? Or what does it feel like? Or is it good or is it bad? The brain will just bump along as normal. So that's reason number one why we take this inventory, is because, and it shouldn't just be at the new year. It just so happens that a lot of us do it at the new year because there's all this media hype and there's all this, there's all this new year, new you, new beginnings, da, da, da. If you can tease through all the media hype, the reason why we're doing this is for you to take inventory so that you can say, wow, if nothing changes, nothing changes. My state of being, my identity is comfortable just like this. I'm going to stay exactly this way unless I look up and outside and take a look at myself and whether or not I like being this way. Okay, so that's reason number one, we're taking inventory. But then we need to go further and understand, this is where it gets tricky, is that, what did I say earlier? The brain doesn't like you to change. So you take this inventory and you say, I don't like this. And you go, I'm going to change this. And the brain says, no, no, thank you. That doesn't feel comfortable to me. I like homeostasis. I like staying exactly as I am. I'm going to fight you when you try and change me. And this is where most New Year's resolutions, goals, whatever, come to die. Not because you don't want it, but because you don't know how to work with the brain to understand that it's going to fight you not to change. That's its job. Its job is to keep you alive, and anything drastically outside of what you're doing right now is interpreted by the brain as danger, and it's going to ask you not to do that anymore. And you might sit here and think, yeah, I can outsmart my brain. As soon as I put my mind to something, I'm going to do it. And I will argue that there might be areas in your life where that is true, but all of us have these sticky areas. You're in this group, so it might have to do with your weight or your body, where that isn't true for you, where the more you try a new diet or a new workout plan or commit to throwing everything out in your cabinet, no sugar, for the first 90 days, and that lasts for a week, right? We think that that is a lack of willpower issue. In reality, it's you served up too much change. You went too far out of the boundaries of homeostasis issue. And the subconscious is a really powerful thing. It will shoot up messages and triggers and cues. I'm too tired. I don't want to. This is too cold outside. It's too dark. I don't want to get up early. I don't like the taste of that thing. Dieting is hard to do. It's going to throw up all of these signals to keep you in the confines of homeostasis. So, takeaway number one, we want to take inventory. If nothing changes, nothing changes. And takeaway number two, when we decide we want something to change, we need a more systematic approach to that change that works with our mental capacity and the way the brain works and not against it. If we're going to be successful, you have to understand more about how the brain processes information and have a system that works with it. That vision and goal setting worksheet that I gave you is a really, really good way to work with that system. As I mentioned, and I'm bringing you back up here, there's the whole directions in there. It explains why you keep your vision at the top. You set down your success barriers. You make smaller goals in relation to those success barriers. All of that is learning to work with the brain. And yes, the whole behavior design system that I'm teaching in the Shift membership and in the Shift course next week, and the subsequent tiny habit system is used to understand this entire philosophy that I just explained to you, and then create the systematic approach to address it. And mind you, if you're not interested or capable in doing the Shift, we did 2 weeks of tiny habits in this program, in the Healthy for the Holidays series. Go back to the tiny habits program and really commit to that work. I did 10 videos on this very topic of how to create tiny habits and why we want to do it, working with the brain, the way the brain works through behavior science research. So you have a lot of free tools at your disposal if the Shift is not in your wheelhouse right now, or you just don't, if you just don't align with it, okay? Let me check here to see if you have any questions online. Good. Okay. Don't see any here. Let me know if you have any questions about this, about why we're doing this and why it's so necessary to look at doing it differently. I will keep going on this for the next couple of days, answering your questions on Thursday and Friday, and then we will wrap up this series together. Okay. I don't see other questions or comments. I will see you all same time, same place tomorrow and Friday. Take care, everyone.